Hello guys and girls, and welcome to my very first mod spotlight. So don't judge me too harshly on this. I've never done one of these before, but I thought I'd give it a go. So the mod I'm going to be looking at today is going to be Thaumic Energistics. I've been playing around with this mod a lot on the Infinity mod pack released on Feed the Beast recently. So it took me a little while to get into it, and I thought it was really good. I've wanted this since Feed the Beast Monster, because I got really heavily into Thaumcraft, and I was like, I wish you could put it in Essentia storage stuff, and that is exactly what has happened. So basically, what this mod does is it allows you to digitalize all of your Essentia. So before, we used to have watered jars all around your infusion altar, and you used to have them all around these things and all around everything basically. That is no longer. You don't have to have golems running around the place anymore. It's so simple. It looks a little bit messy from what I've got. It might look a little bit complicated, but do not worry, it's not as bad as it seems. So we're going to get straight on into it. So we've got ourselves a little bit of a basic ME system here, and what we're going to start off with is going to go around in a clockwise manner. So the very first thing that I made when I got into this was the one core. So this one focus is an AE wrench. You just place a Certus course wrench in there. Let's take off my goggles real quick, and you can see the base cost of all of these things. So it's just a quartz wrench, some fire shards, some air shards, bit of nether quartz, and 10 of each this in your wand, and you get yourself an AE wrench thing. This one seems really cool, and I loved having it attached to the wand. I'm just going to shove that one in there because we're using that for things later. So next piece is obviously if you've got yourself an AE system. If you don't have yourself an AE system, go and get yourself one set up, because obviously you need to do that. I'm not covering that today. AE systems are pretty self-explanatory. There's several other tutorials out there for them if you're not too sure, but we are covering Thaumic Energistics. So what we've got here, you've got ourselves a basic little ME system. Ignore this for a second, I'll show you exactly what that does in a sec, and these two up here. But over this side we've got all of our basic ME drives. So you can combine, I just wanted to show that you can combine normal storage and your Essentia storage. So here are all the Essentia types of drives. You've got 1K Essentia storage cell, 4K, 16K, and 64K. They each hold 12 different Essentia types, as opposed to these which hold items of 63. But there's about 48 if you're playing normally. I think if you've got Forbidden Magic, there's a couple more on there as well, so it takes it up to about 50, 60 odd in total. So you are going to need a couple of these. Even if you have the 1Ks, you're going to need a couple just to cover all the aspects themselves. But you want to try an upgrade. I think I tried to get 16s in mine on the server, purely so that we have the space. 64K seems a bit overkill. I don't think anyone needs that much. But yeah, so looking into these things, they're fairly simple to make, but kind of a little bit complicated. Well, they're not really complicated, it's just you need to get Wispy Essence, or this essence which is dropped by Wisps and Eldritch Guardians. I can't remember what else drops it, but it's going to be 4 of these around a logic processor from Applied Energistics and some Certus quartz crystals. And it's going to take 1 auto and 3 ignis, and this is only going to make your 1K drives, and you're going to need 3 of them to make a 4K, and then you need 3 4Ks to make 16, 3 16s to make a 64, so on and so forth. This recipe does change slightly over the things. So once you get that, you get yourself a couple of them. You can move up to the 4Ks, which is going to take 3 of the previous versions. A piece of quartz glass in the middle, not too bad. Calculation processor, and another 4 of these ethereal essences around the thing. And then moving on from that, you got the 16K, which is obviously the 3 4Ks. This one has an engineering processor on it, which is the diamond one. 2 ethereal essence and 2 Salis Mundus on that one, so that's the little bit of a change there. And then coming down to this one changes again. It's got 3 16s, and it's got no ethereal essence on it. It's just all Salus Mundus, and it keeps the engineering processor in there for this one as well. So that takes you all the way up to 64k. Now obviously you need to put these in a housing drive, which is made pretty simply. You have to make an ME Essentia storage housing. You can't use your basic ME one. You got to make a Thaumic Energistics one. Especially this takes 2 pieces of water glass, some redstone, and a bit of thaumium for good measure there. And then that's going to make you this. So you can either do this 2 ways. So you can either grab your 64k there. You can either place it in the middle and make your 64k drive, or you can make up a ton of these things here like this, and then just put them in a crafting table together like so, like that. And this recipe here, or combining them, or just making the housing, doesn't use any vis whatsoever on that one. Can't remember how much these cost. Yeah, that's 8 and 3, 4 and 3, 2 and 3, 3 and 1. Okay, so it goes up auto, like doubles every single time. Ignis seems to stay the same though. Cool, so that's how you make your drives. That's how you're going to be getting your Essentia stored. Now we've got the storage side of it, we can start looking at how to view that kind of things. Obviously we can start importing it, but there's no point doing that if we can't view it and we can't see what's going on there, and we've got to make a couple bits and pieces before we get to there. So what we're going to cover first is this one here, and this is the Arcane Crafting Terminal. As you can see, I've got it set up over here. This will basically allow you to do any arcane crafting that you would do in a normal arcane crafting table like this. It will allow you to do it in here instead. And you just drop your wand in there and it will pull out of there. So basically you can do it on your ME system, which is really, really cool. I haven't got to keep coming over to a crafting table and like clicking things in. You can like shift click on these things as well, which is really, really nifty. Cool. So to make that, that's pretty simple. You need the standard ME terminal. Pretty simple stuff to make if you know what you're doing in Applied Energistics. 1 arcane work table, again, not too hard to get. Just the little workbench thing, click your wand on it, hey presto. And a calculation processor, again, Applied Energistics, you should know how to make that. So the next 2 things you're going to make after that are these 2 here. So you have the, you got the Annihilation Core and the Formation Core, both from Applied Energistics. These are the Thaumic Energistic versions, and it's just a small little upgrade on them. With the Annihilation Core, which would hint towards Chaos, you're going to put an Entropy Shard and some Quicksilver, and that's going to take 2 Aqua and 2 of that. That's going to make you this thing called the Fusion Core. Moving on, use Formation Core with Auto Shard, and Quicksilver. This is going to take 2 Aqua and 2 Auto, and this is going to make a Coalescence Core. So these 2 things are going to be used throughout. You're going to use them for various different items moving on, which is why I wanted to cover them here. As in Applied Energistics, these cores are used everywhere. Not like everywhere, but for a good deal of amount of stuff, you're going to need these things. I think you need, from what I've seen, you need the Coalescence cores more than anything else. So just be wary of that. So these 2 things lead us to this, and this is the Essentia terminal. This allows us to view any Essentia that is in the ME system. So if you look here, you can see items and crafting recipes. You look in here, you can see items. Look over here, you can see Essentia. Hover over it, click on it, it will tell you exactly how much is in there and stuff like that. And you can pull it in and out that way as well, which I'll show you later on once we get over to the... Actually, I can probably show you now. Let's grab a glass vial. Let's just say, let's take some Ignis out. So you click on yourself on Ignis. You can either do this with a water jar like so, and that'll pull it out, and then you just place it back in and it'll drop it back in like so. So if you place the full jar in, it'll put it in. If you put an empty jar in, it'll pull whatever one you have clicked out. Exact same with that one there, just like so. So you can get it essentially in and out pretty easily. Don't worry, there's no long ass process to try and get it in and out all the time. So that's pretty much allows it. So we've got the storage and we've got the ability to view the Essentia inside it. Awesome, awesome stuff. So now you're probably wondering, well, I've got Thaumcraft set up. I've got all my jars around. How do I get that stuff into my system? So you can do it the way that I showed. It's going to take a lot of clicking though. But then if you kind of want to keep the jars there as well, It depends how you want it set up personally. There's like a lot of variance in this thing, and that's what we're going to be moving on to now. So it depends how you want. You can still keep all your jars for the aesthetic look and have them refilled all the time from the system, or you can just have everything run from the system, or it's up to you, completely up to you. You can have like storage cells all around, so you can store essentially in the jars with storage bus, but we'll get into that right this very second. So let's have a look here. We've got an Essentia import bus, an Essentia export bus, and an Essentia storage bus. We've also got Essentia level emitters, and we've got ourselves, what's that one? Essentia provider, which we'll cover in a second. So these things are pretty simple to make, and again, it's going to use the cores, annihilation, not annihilation, diffusion, and coalescence. So these things, not too bad to make. 2 warded jars, filtered Essentia tube. Again, that's not too difficult to make. If you've been playing Thaumcraft, you should know how to do that. I assume if you're looking at this stage, you should be well known with Thaumcraft anyway. But you got 2 warded jars, one of the diffusion cores, which I've just showed you how to make, 2 iron ingots, and a filtered Essentia tube. And that's going to make you 1 import bus. That's going to allow you to import anything you want into the system from jars, or I think it's just jars that it'll pull out of. Or no, you can pull out the alembics here, which I'll show you in a second. And then you've got the export buses as well. So if you wanted to send Essentia out of your system into something else, say you wanted to send it into a water jar, you can do that. You can set the filter of what you want to come in and out of that. And that one takes the coalescence core, exact same recipe as the last one. And it takes the exact same vis from your wand. So next one we have is this storage bus. This is going to take 1 of the coalescence and the diffusion, a piece of watered glass, filtered Essentia tube, and 2 iron ingots. Again, the exact same vis cost. And that's going to make you a storage bus. So we'll go quickly check these out. I haven't done anything with the level emitter because I didn't know if it was worth doing anything. But let's go for example. So we've got an export bus here, I believe. That's an import bus. That's the export bus. So if we place that down there, nothing's going to happen. If we right click on this, and this only works with the files, I believe. We'll find out. But if you place that in there, it's going to say, hey, can you pull Ignis out of this system, please, and put it in there. Have to filter it. It's not going to pull out any random one. You have to filter it and be like, hey, can you do this one for me, please? And it'll go and do that. So we're getting, as you can see, we're getting, let's put the goggles on real quick. You can see we've got Ignis in there. Really, really cool. And if you want to clear it, you just click on it, clear it, done like so. Oh, that wasn't good. Okay, that's fixed. Got to be a little bit more careful where we're clicking. Right, so let's just have a look and see if we can do this. Oh, okay, you can do it with the water jars as well. Cool. So you can pull things out of the system into jars if you really, really want to. I had 64 Ignis in there. Now you can see we have none in there whatsoever. If I was to place that underneath the storage bus, it wouldn't take anything out. But if we look in here, why are you not working? Ignis? Okay, that should be working. Okay, I haven't played around with that too much, but I'm fairly sure you can use that as a storage bus. It doesn't seem like it's active. It doesn't have any lights on it. I'm wondering if I've got too many channels connected. But if you come over here, we can extract this thing as well. Don't need to filter this one at all. You can filter it and say only extract this stuff. But you don't have to filter it. You can just leave it there and it'll pull it all back into the system. Like so. You can see it's slowly going in. It's not super duper fast. I think you can put upgrades in these. Have a look. Pretty sure you can put upgrades in them. Yeah, you can put upgrades in them. Which is really, really cool. So that's how you get things in and out. The storage bus should work. I'm not 100% sure why that isn't working. I'm going to have to do some testing with that. But it's a storage bus. It works. It should work like your normal AE storage, but with Essentia. Cool, cool, cool. So let's move on a little bit more. I think we covered everything there. We got the import, export, storage bus. Didn't really do anything with. Level emitter. I really should have a book on me. That would make life so much easier. Right, so level emitter. I never ever play around with a level emitter, but they are there if you want them. Let me just find them. I will find them for you. I don't even know where they are. There we go, level emitters. Level emitters. They're fairly simple to make. The essential level emitter will continuously monitor levels of essential in the network and provide a redstone signal when the appropriate conditions are met. So it'll work like any level emitter. Like say you haven't got enough in like certain jar or something, it will emit a redstone signal which will make it pull things out or do other things. I don't know. I never play around with them too much because things just tend to get complicated with that. But yeah, we've got that in there if you want to play with Essentia, things like that. It's just going to be one of them level emitters that detects Essentia rather than items like your normal level emitter does. So it's just added that option in there again for you. This one here is the Essentia provider. So you can provide Essentia to things. So if I wanted to provide Essentia to, let's say we had an alchemical construct here, and I wanted to provide Essentia to it, I'd stick one of these things on the back of it, or on the front of it, or on a side where it can take a port, and I can automate things. Pretty much just like have it sent from the system, and it would send all the stuff we need to here. So if I put something in there and it's like, oh, make me that, it would actually make it. I haven't actually got that set up. It's kind of stupid. I should have done that, but I never got around to it. But I'll show you another cool way they work right now. So you can see here we have an advanced alchemical furnace. Before we get onto that, here is your normal arcane alembics and normal alchemical furnace. I completely forgot about this, but let's just quickly go like that. And we're going to need some coal. I thought I had everything ready. I was so prepared, but I wasn't. Right, so let's go in there, put some coal in, and we're going to burn this stuff up. And I'm just going to show that this is going to pull in. So we have 64 ignis in here. These give you 4 ignis per rod and 2 precantatio. So technically, this should give us another 64 ignis and 32 precantatio. Have a look in here. Precantatio is going in, ignis is going in. Again, you can put the speed networks on these things and they make them go super duper fast. See if we can get that going. Maybe not. Okay, it looks like you can put 2 in there. Fantastic. And let's see how fast that pulls in now. There you go. It's just a case of that filtering out into that. So you can pull things in straight from the alembics. And then once you upgrade to the advanced alchemical furnace, this is sort of end game kind of thing. This is a hell of a lot faster than this piece of crap over here. No offense if you're still using that, but get this thing as soon as possible. It is freaking awesome. So I'm using a little Britannia open crate there, just drop items in, and the chest and the standard hopper. Basically I can just drop items in there. They will drop down there, bubble up, become Essentia. I've got these Essentia providers. So these don't only just provide Essentia, but if you see we've got these little holes on the advanced alchemical furnace. These things will basically pull everything out. So I've got 3 of them set up, which means it should pull out super duper fast as that thing can cook. I think if you just put the 1 on, it's only going to go quite slow. So we have a look over here now. We got 55 precantatio in there, which we got 32 from there, and we're still waiting on the stuff from here. So that's how bad that is. We've got tons and tons of ignis. I need to put a ton of this stuff in. Just remember, we're going to be doing some infusion stuff in a second, and I need this in. I completely forgot about it. Cool. So that is the Essentia provider. Not only does it provide, it also takes... it'll also extract from this, which is really cool. I'm pretty sure you can put the export buses on, the import buses on there as well, and it should work in the exact same manner. But we'll figure that. I'm not too sure. You might have to figure that out yourself. This is definitely the better way, though. I'd say just go straight for that. So that is all the import-export things you can do with that side of things. So moving on, we're going to be looking at where are you? Iron gearbox. Basically, this thing can then be made into a Thaumic gearbox. If you have a charger or a quartz grindstone, I think you still need to stick a crank in that, to be honest with you. But if you have these things on the go, then you can pretty much stick one of these on, and this has cranks on all sides, which means it'll turn everything on one side. The Thaumic ones allow golems to use them, so if you have a golem with a used core, it can stand here and it can crank away all night and day for you, and you haven't got to do it anymore. Charge things for you, everything. It'd be freaking awesome. But you can make an iron one, which you just do yourself and you hold it, and basically the power is distributed between them, if that makes sense. So if I was to power one crank, we'd have 100% power in there, but because we've got two items connected, I'm cranking one thing, it's going to give us 50%. The more people you have cranking it, the more power goes into it. So say we had 5 golems cranking it, that's 500% power going into one of these, 250 split between them. That's the kind of logic math thing I'm going. So to make this, you need to make wooden gears. You need to make 5 of these. Just to make one of these, just to make one, you need to make 5 wooden gears. You then need to emboss it with a little bit of iron and some vis, like so. That's going to make your iron gear from Thaumic Energistics. And then you come over here, place your iron gears like so with some cobblestone. That's going to make you an iron gearbox. And then once you've got yourself your iron gearbox, oh, I've already got one in there. You're going to come, to make it into a Thaumic one, you just put it inside your alchemical construct. It's going to take 16 metallum and 16 precantatio for that one, and it should just go through real quickly here, hopefully. And then it's going to pop out this really nifty little thing down here, which is your Thaumic gearbox, and then you just hook that up to whatever you have. As you can see, it's gone straight into the thing there. I don't know where this one's going. That one looks like it's already going up in. So if I was to pull that off and just leave it off, exactly what I was planning on doing. Yeah, you see it doesn't go in here, it's just a crank on the side. It has to be in where the crank thing would go. I think it can go top or bottom actually. Let's have a look at that. No, it won't go in the bottom of these, so it has to go in the top of these. But you can have loads of golems powering them and do it super duper fast. Right, so that's how you get some automated things with golems. Put them to good use because you probably won't use them for infusions and stuff now. Right, so the very next thing we want to look at is essentially mirrors really quickly. These are a standard Thaumcraft item. Pretty simple to make. Mirror glass, iron, ender pearl, aura, iter, and permutatio. Simple little infusion thing there. You need 2 of them. And that is to make this thing, and this is the infusion provider, one of the best blocks in this mod. I absolutely love it, and it makes Thaumcraft so much cleaner than it is. And I'll quickly show you how this works. Actually, wait, do we need anything else? Okay, that's a little bit something else. Right, so the infusion provider, absolutely awesome. I stick it underneath the pedestal in the middle because I can. It just sits there. It's hooked up to the ME system through cable there. So you got some fluids cable. That's running all the way over to the ME system. And we've got all of our essentia. So we're going to make... Oh, doesn't look like it transfers stuff when you're not in the window. Interesting. So we've got 520 potentia, 520 motus, and 8 air. Maybe I needed more air. I put lux in. I didn't mean to put lux in. See, it goes in quite fast that way, actually. Right, so we've got loads of air, loads of everything else. So we're going to quickly grab... Why do I not have a wand on me? Right, so we're going to make ourselves a... Zord of the Zephyr. Very, very easy infusion to make. It's just a couple bits and pieces with a Thaumic sword. As you can see, we have no jars of essentia anywhere around here other than these 2. These 2 aren't even in the recipe for it. I'll just give you a quick show of that. There you go, very, very simple indeed. And then all you have to do is right click on that like that. As you can see, the essentia is being provided from below. It's pulling up all the runic. Actually, I think that runic thing is generic. I think that's always been there, but it's pulling up the essentia. You can't fully well see it, but you can kind of see it. See, it's all been taken. Now it's pulling things in, and we have no jars whatsoever. So it's basically just pulled If you have a look, we were on 520, we're now on 512, 512 and 512. So it's just pulled 8 of each out of there, underneath up to here. That is the best part of this. It makes Thaumcraft so much cleaner and so much nicer to work with. Really, really awesome stuff. That's probably one of my favorite blocks in here. Actually, all of it's my favorite. It's an awesome mod. Go check it out. So next thing we want to look at real quick is the Essential Cell Workbench. This basically allows you to format cells, or partition them, sorry. Take your standard Applied Energistics cell workbench, 2 wool, bit of iron, chest, and a calculation processor. Stick it next to a 1K Essential storage component, and you get yourself this thing. This thing allows you to, so ME64K Essential storage cell. Go like that, it's now partitioned. The only thing that's going to be allowed on there, as you can see, it says partitioned. Take that out. Doesn't actually tell you what it's partitioned with, but that is basically not going to allow anything but Ignis on that. So you can partition them and have a partition drive every single Essential if you really wanted it. I don't think we're ever going to use over the 64K of Ignis in there. I'm not sure if we take it out, will it go on there? Yeah, there you go. It's gone straight onto that cell right there. As you can see, it says it's got 100 in there. We've got 200 in there. So it's 0.5 of a bit thing. So that's good. Yeah, we're not going to have 130,000 Ignis Essential. Well, I certainly bloody well hope not. So that's pretty simple to do. So yeah, it just allows you to have a bit more management. You can set several aspects onto one drive and stuff like that, but you can just sort of break it down so you're not having everything flooded onto one drive. You can have them all separated up, which is pretty nifty. But yeah, so that's about it for that bit. So moving on, we're going to have a look at this. This is another part of my favorite. You need to grab yourself P2P tunnel from Applied Energistics, the ME P2P tunnel, and then combine that with a balance shard. Let me take the goggles off again. With 2 of every single aspect in your wand. That's going to give you this thing called a Viz Relay Interface. These are the best things ever. And just before we grab this, I'm going to show you need to make yourself a memory card. Very easy. Calculation. 2 iron and get 2 gold and one of those redstones. So we're going to grab that. We've got one in our inventory here. And we've already got one of these set up over here. So if you come over to the ME system, we've got one of the Viz Relay interfaces already hooked up to our Fluix cable. So as you can see here, we have an energized node. Energized nodes can have certain things. I've got every single aspect in this one on a 444 basis. What we're going to do is we're going to hook that up like that. So now our energized node is being powered through this Viz relay, and it is being able to go into our ME system. It's not storing it anywhere in the ME system, but it allows some really, really cool opportunities. So if you grab yourself your memory card, which you just made as well, go over and click on the interface, not the Viz relay itself, but the actual interface. So not that, but that. Shift right click on it, it will say successfully saved settings. So if you remember earlier, I put this wand in here, this really crap wand. Well, it's not a crap one. It's only got, it's missing like 12 of every single essentia. So what we're going to do is we've just shift right clicked on that. Now we're going to right click on that. We're going to load the settings into it. And if you have a look now, that wand is recharging itself. That is how awesome this thing is. It recharges itself. So you can do all your arcane infusions in here. It's kind of like the thing that you put over the top to charge your wand. Except you can just leave it in here. You got all your items in here. You haven't got to go anywhere. You literally use your ME system and craft all day, every day, without even worrying. Obviously, your wand's eventually gonna like run out if you do mass amounts of crafting. It's not the fastest. Actually, let's have a look. Do you have speed upgrades? No, it doesn't. Right. Okay. So that is the fastest that this thing will charge. Pretty standard rate for charging your wand via energized nodes. There's definitely better ways to do it, but if you just want to leave it in here and craft away, if you were to put an Ichor Strat 1 from Thaumic Tinkerer, which has 1,000 this in it, then you'd be fine. You don't have to do anything else. But the other thing is we can also connect these up to other things. So we've got these arcane assemblers, which I'm going to cover in a minute. This also gets connected up, so we got the save settings on this memory card. We can just right click that, load the settings, and if you have a look here, it's now filling up with all the different aspects. Really, really cool stuff. So talking about the assembler thing over there, what we've done here is, this is quite expensive to make this, the arcane assembler, but it is really, really cool. If you have a look here, we've got, it takes a molecular assembler from Applied Energistics 2. It needs a Thaumic embossed silver with scepter with 150 of each of this, so it needs to be maxed out to be able to do this, and you need one of every single shard from vanilla Thaumcraft in there. You also need all of these aspects as well in Essentia form. It's very, very expensive, but it's very, very worth it. I'll show you why in a second. So to be able to use this, you're going to have to make this thing called the Knowledge Inscriber. Quite simple to make. You take a Thaumic, very easy to make, bookcase, you know how to do it. Illuminator panel from Applied Energistics, the processor, and 4 bits of iron. Again, we take the little goggles off, and it's a base cost of 5 for each. And then you can place that down and do yada yada yada. Come over here and you got to make one of these as well. So you want to make one of these ones straight away. It's 3 lapis, zombie brain, some vibrant quartz from Applied Energistics, and a calculation processor. Make yourself one of them and stick it up in the corner here. So we got this thing called a knowledge core. Stick that up there. You can have up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 21 recipes per knowledge core. So you can put 21 recipes per assembler. Really, really cool stuff. What I've got in here is I put a knowledge core in there, so we can make as many knowledge cores as we want later down the future. We can auto craft them back in the assembler thing, which is really, really nifty. But obviously you're going to need this to do this, so it takes that into account. It takes into account how much vis you need, and that is why that thing is filling up with vis from the energized node. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a pattern for export bus, and you just, all you do is put it in there. It doesn't consume the items when you put it in there. See, we've still got 2 on us, but that's not because we're in creative, it's just how it is. And then you hit save pattern, save in there, and you just delete all that stuff out. And then you basically just take your knowledge core like so, run all the way over here. Place that in there like so, and it's going to pop up saying you know how to craft these 2 things. Obviously you link the thing up to this. You'd link up this relay interface up to this one to charge it up, but we've got this one over here with a lot more recipes in it that I made earlier. And yeah, so basically link them up. You got the speed things in there that's going to make it go super duper fast. I've also got these 2 here. Basically what I've got there is golden nugget recipe and the quicksilver drops. And basically what we can do is, I don't have any to make that we need our annihilation cores. I think I actually put some of them in there. Yeah, but I've pretty much taught it how to craft everything else. So for quicksilver, it's already got in there. Entropy shards, we actually need to stick some in there. Obviously shards you'd have in there. But some things that you wouldn't have, I've taught it how to craft them. I got quicksilver in there. Warded glass. Yeah, I've taught it how to make warded glass. So if we wanted to make an Essentia storage bus, this is the true test. Because this is going to require iron ingots, which I think I put in there. Yeah, iron ingots are fine. It's also going to take the fusion core and a correlations core, neither of which we have. It has to make them itself. And it also has to make a filter Essentia tube, which means it has to make a vis filter and an Essentia tube, which it has none of, which is where it comes into making a quicksilver drop, because we've only got quicksilver in there, and golden nuggets because we've only got gold bars in there. So this is the real test of everything. We also need some glass. That's the only thing I'm missing. There's a bit of glass. You'd have glass lying around anyway. But let's just grab a handful of that. And we're going to place that in, and then we are going to come into here, and we're going to craft 1. I know you're missing, but you got to figure that out. Ah, don't tell me it's going to do that. Right, it looks like we're going to have to make it. I swear, I taught it. Look, I taught it that thing, and it's got to make that thing. I don't know. I'm going to have to figure that out. I've never really played with molecular assemblers before. This is the first time I'm doing it, so do apologise that things aren't going to plan. But right, it's still got to make everything else, which is still pretty impressive. I mean, the gold nugget and that thing wasn't like my main thing that I was going for. So we've got everything in there. It's got a craft. It's saying to craft, available to craft, to craft, to craft, to craft. Hit start on that. Look at it all go. Look how fast that was. And we got ourselves one essentially storage bus. Awesome. But that is pretty much it. That's all I can think of. I've done everything else. We've got the vis relay linking up to that, and then you've got this saved on the memory card. As soon as you got that saved, you haven't got to shift right click it again. Just right click on everything you want it loaded onto. So if we look in there now, that should be filling up with the stuff and all of that cool stuff. But that is going to be it. That was my very, very first spotlight ever. I think I chose a very fantastic mod to do it on. Very fun one to play with indeed, especially if you like tech and you like magic. Combining them together like that is just freaking awesome. But thank you guys very, very much for watching. I hope you guys have learned some stuff from it. Tried to make it informative as well. And I hope I did the mod justice. And I hope you guys are itching to play it now, because it's freaking awesome. Go and check it out. Go and play with it. And go make lots of things. It makes Thaumcraft a little bit easier and able to automate it, which I think is cool. Don't have to do it, but it does add like loads of various things. It just makes storage for Essentia easier. And crafting, as you saw, we made the storage bus super, super fast. We can make craft. We can pretty much do anything that comes in an arcane work table. We can auto craft it now, which is freaking sweet. But thank you guys very, very much for watching. Please hit the thumbs up button if you like the video. It does help me out a great deal. Subscribe if you want to see some more tutorials and showcases, stuff like that. I'm probably going to try and do more showcases. I'm trying to do a lot of tutorials at the minute, but showcases I'll try and do some more of. But yeah, Twitter is in the description if anyone wants to contact me, or go follow me. Most of my updates are on there. I'm quite good at replying on there as well. But that is going to be it. So thank you guys very much for watching. Again, I probably said like 5 times. But have yourselves a very fantastic day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.